I died choking on my own blood in the trunk of a black SUV, the taste of betrayal as sharp as the knife that had sliced my throat. Rain hammered the roof like accusations I couldn't dodge anymore. Dad's voice echoing in my skull. Apologize, Audrey, or you're dead to me. And now, gasping awake in my old bedroom, the calendar on my wall screaming 2018, I realized the universe had hit rewind, dropping me back into this hellhole of a life 2 years before the end, with every scar and secret etched into my soul like a goddamn roadmap to revenge. The first thing I did was puke into the trash can beside my bed, the sour burn of vomit mixing with the phantom copper tang of my blood. My hands, smaller, unscarred, trembled as I clutched the edges of the mattress, staring at the faded posters of indie bands and the dusty shelf of debate trophies from high school. This wasn't some fever dream. The air smelled like Mom's lavender candles, the ones Dad had burned through after she left us in that car crash 3 years ago. Left us? Bullshit. I knew better now. Victoria, his new wife, the viper who'd slithered into our lives 6 months after the funeral, hadn't just seduced him with her yoga-toned body and fake southern drawl. She'd orchestrated the whole thing, from the brake line sabotage to the forged life insurance payout that padded her offshore accounts. I was 20 now, or would be in this timeline, a junior at Northwestern studying poli-sci, dreaming of law school and dismantling corrupt empires from the inside. Back then, I'd been the thorn in Victoria's side, the stepdaughter who saw through her Botox smile and whispered, "She's poisoned, Dad." He'd grounded me for a month straight after I embarrassed her at a family dinner, spilling the wine on purpose when she got too handsy with him under the table. "Apologize," he'd barked, his face redder than the Merlot stain on her white dress. "Or you can forget about tuition. You're on your own." I'd held out, stubborn as hell, until the isolation cracked me. I apologized, and that crack, it widened into the chasm that swallowed me whole. 2 years from now, in the original timeline, that apology would lead to everything unraveling. Victoria would plant doubts in Dad's ear about my ungrateful attitude, get me cut off financially, force me into a dead-end job at her cousin's shady real estate firm. I'd dig too deep into their books, laundering money from Mom's crash site, tied to some Chicago mob connections, and they'd bury me in that trunk on a rainy night outside O'Hare. Dad, he'd mourn for a week, blame my reckless choices, and marry Victoria proper in a Vegas chapel, toasting to fresh starts with blood money. But not this time. This time, I woke up with the ghost screaming for justice. I wiped my mouth, stood on shaky legs, and yanked open my closet. There, buried under winter coats, was the shoebox with Mom's old flash drive, the one I'd found too late last time. Encrypted files proving Victoria's affair with the mechanic who'd fixed Mom's brakes. I'd decode it now. I'd burn them all. Downstairs, the kitchen hummed with the false domesticity I'd grown to loathe. Dad, Richard Hargrove, 48 and still clinging to his corner office swagger as a mid-level exec at a logistics firm, sipped coffee at the Granite Island, scrolling his phone. Victoria hovered like a shadow, her blonde bob perfect, yoga pants hugging curves that screamed, "Trophy wife," in a suburb that ate that shit up. She was 35, all Pilates and Pinterest recipes, the kind of woman who volunteered at church bake sales while siphoning funds from widows' estates. "Morning, sleepyhead," she cooed as I shuffled in, her green eyes flicking over me like I was a smudge on her spotless life. "Rough night? You look like you saw a ghost." I forced a yawn, playing the part of the hungover college kid. "Just a bad dream. The usual." Inside, my pulse thundered. I could still feel the zip ties biting my wrists, hear her laugh as she slammed the trunk. "Sweet dreams, Audrey. Your daddy's gonna thank me for this." Dad glanced up, his salt and pepper hair tousled from sleep. "You okay, kiddo? Big presentation today." "Yeah, Dad." Crushed it in my head already. Lies. In this reset, my presentation on corporate ethics was tomorrow, and I'd use it to sharpen my claws. But first, breakfast. I grabbed a banana, peeling it slowly, watching them. Victoria slid a plate of avocado toast his way, her healthy man routine, and leaned in, whispering something that made him chuckle. That chuckle. It used to mean safety. Now it twisted like a knife. As she turned to rinse a mug, I caught her reflection in the window, a flicker of calculation, like she was already plotting how to turn me into the villain. She had no idea. I did. Every email, Every late-night call to her business partners, every forged signature on Mom's will. The crash wasn't an accident. It was a hit, covered up with a $2 million payout that Victoria had funneled into Dad's investments to keep him hooked. I bit into the banana, the sweetness cloying. "Hey, Vic," I said casually, testing the waters. "That dress from the dinner last month, the red one, you still have it?" I was thinking of borrowing something like that for a party. Her shoulders stiffened. Just a microsecond, but I caught it. The wine spill. My first act of war, accidental then, deliberate now. "Oh, honey, it's at the dry cleaners. Stained beyond repair." Her smile was syrup, but her eyes were daggers. Dad frowned, setting down his mug. "What's this about the dinner?" "Audrey, we talked about that. Victoria's family now." Here it came. The ground zero moment. "I know, Dad. I was just jealous, I guess. Mom's stuff is still in boxes upstairs. It's hard. Play the sympathy card early. Last time, I'd gone full rebellion, and it isolated me. This time, I'd worm in." Victoria's hand fluttered to her chest, Oscar-worthy. "Oh, Audrey, I get it. Losing Elena was devastating for all of us." Us. As if she'd ever met Mom. "Maybe we can go shopping together? Bond a little?" I nodded, swallowing bile. "Sure. Sounds fun. Fun like dancing on graves." That afternoon, after faking my way through class, quoting whistleblower stats with a fervor that had my prof raising an eyebrow, I holed up in the attic. Mom's boxes, photo albums yellowed at the edges, her law degree from DePaul framed but dusty, and that flash drive, tucked in a velvet jewelry pouch. My fingers shook as I plugged it into my laptop. Password, Hargrove Hearts. Cheesy as hell, but Mom's favorite mug said it all. Files bloomed. Emails from Victoria to a Vince R. The mechanic, dated weeks before the crash. "Handle it clean. Richard's blind. Kids collateral if needed." Collateral. Me. And attachments. Bank transfers. $150,000 wired to Vince's account, then laundered through a shell company Dad's firm used for logistics partnerships. Mom had been digging into Dad's workplace, suspecting embezzlement. She'd confided in me once, late-night talks over ice cream. "Your father's a good man, Audrey, but good men get played." Victoria had played them both, seducing Dad at a company retreat, then using his access to bury the evidence. I printed it all, stuffing copies into a fireproof lockbox under my bed. Step 1, document. Step 2, infiltrate. That night, over Dad's grilled salmon, Victoria's recipe from Charleston, I dropped the bait. "Dad, you ever think about Mom's crash? Like, really dig into it? I read this article on corporate cover-ups today. Creepy stuff." He paused, fork midway to his mouth. "What are you on about, AUD? Just, insurance paid out quick, right? No investigation." I kept my tone light, curious co-ed. Victoria's fork scraped her plate, a tell. "Darling, Elena's at peace. Let's not dwell." But Dad's jaw tightened. It was ruled accidental. Faulty brakes. Why bring it up now? I shrugged, heart pounding. "Dunno. Feels unfinished. Like her cases, she always said justice is a puzzle." He softened, the way he did when I echoed Mom. "Your mother's puzzles got her in trouble sometimes. Stubborn as you. A beat. We'll talk more. After you apologized to Vic for that dinner stunt." There it was. The ultimatum. Last time, I'd stormed out, and the spiral began. This time, I met his eyes, voice steady. "I will, Dad. Tomorrow. Clean slate." Victoria beamed, but I saw the crack, her fingers twisting her napkin. Good. Let her wonder. The next week blurred into calculated chaos. I apologized over mimosas at a Bucktown brunch spot. Her choice, all exposed brick and overpriced eggs. "I'm sorry for the wine," Vic heat of the moment. She accepted with hugs and fresh starts, but I slipped a tracker app onto her phone during a bathroom break, syncing it to mine under the guise of sharing party invites. By Tuesday, I had her texts, meetups with Vince at a dingy bar off Lakeshore Drive, whispers of the girls sniffing too close. Class became my war room. Poli-sci debates on ethics. I channeled Mom, dismantling arguments on corruption with stats from her flash drive. My prof, Dr. Ramirez, pulled me aside after one. "Audrey, you're on fire. Internship at the DA's office? They'd eat this up." Seed planted. By month's end, I had a summer gig lined up, access to public records, ways to cross-check Victoria's alibis. Dad noticed the shift. "You're different, kid. More focused." We started running together at dawn, pounding the paths around Lincoln Park, him venting about work pressures, layoffs looming, shady deals with consultants that smelled like Victoria's influence. Your stepmom's got ideas, AUD, investments. High risk, high reward. High reward for her, I bet. I nodded, filing it away. The $50 million? That was the crown jewel, a surefire real estate flip she was pushing, tied to mob-backed developers. Last time, Dad sank the firm's pension fund into it, lost everything when the feds raided. It bankrupted him, left Victoria unscathed with her cut offshore. This time, I'd steer him toward the cliff, then yank him back, at a price. But revenge isn't clean. The first controversial call came mid-October, leaves crunching underfoot as I tailed Victoria to that bar. Vince, burly, tattooed, nursing a Bud Light. She slid into his booth, all whispers and touches. Richard's wavering on the deal. The girl's a problem. Keeps bringing up Elena. Vince grunted. Handle it like last time? Her laugh chilled me. Not yet. But if she pushes. Trunk's always open. I waited in the shadows of my Civic, fists clenched on the wheel. Confront her now? Call the cops with the flash drive? No. Evidence was circumstantial. She'd lawyer up, spin it as grief-fueled paranoia. Dad would choose her again. Instead, I snapped photos, uploaded to a burner cloud. Anonymous tip to the DA's tip line. Suspected vehicular homicide cover-up. Check mechanic Vince R. Ties to Hargrove Logistics. It bought time. Vince got audited by week's end. IRS sniffing his side gigs. Victoria panicked. Her texts frantic. We need to accelerate the flip. Get Richard in deep. Perfect. Thanksgiving loomed like a guillotine. Dad's family, uncles from the south side, aunts with passive-aggressive jabs at Victoria's youth, gathered at our Bucktown brownstone. I played hostess, circulating charcuterie while eavesdropping. Uncle Mike, Dad's poker buddy and a retired CPD detective, cornered me by the turkey. Heard you're interning at the DA. Smart kid. Your mod be proud. Uncle Mike, you ever work a case like Mom's? Suspicious crash, quick payout. His eyes narrowed over his scotch. Why? Got a hunch. I hesitated, the line between truth and manipulation blurring. Just loose ends. Handed him a USB with redacted files. Hypothetical reading. He pocketed it, clapping my shoulder. Hypotheticals can bite. Be careful, AUD. Victoria watched from across the room, her smile a rictus. That night, after the guests cleared, she cornered me in the hall. Stirring pots, Audrey? Mike's old news. Family talks, Vic. That's all. My voice even, but inside, triumph sang. The hook was set. December brought the snow and the push. Dad called me into his study, mahogany walls closing in like a confessional. Vic's got this opportunity. Big. $50 mill in a mixed-use development downtown. Luxury condos, retail. Firms dipping in, but I need collateral. Your college fund. It's grown. Could double it. There it was. The mistake. Last time, I'd begged him not to. He accused me of sabotage, grounded me indefinitely. This time, I leaned in, eyes wide. Sounds huge, Dad. But risky? What's the due diligence? He waved it off. Victoria's people vetted it. Solid. Her people. Vince's crew. I swallowed the urge to scream. Controversial decision number 2. Enable the fall to build the rise. I'm in. For you. But promise, no secrets. We review the docs together. His face lit up. Rare, genuine. That's my girl. Hugs followed, the kind that almost made me forget the trunk. Christmas Eve, Victoria hosted her Winter Wonderland Gala, catered shrimp, twinkling lights strung across the backyard igloo tent. Chicago elite, aldermen with greased palms, execs from Dad's firm. I wore the red dress, dry cleaned, miraculously unstained, circulating with champagne flutes, charming the marks. Dr. Ramirez was there, networking. Audrey, this your scene. Family tradition. I slipped him a card. Ever consult on ethics audits? Hypothetical client, shady real estate. His brow arched. Send details. By New Year's, the deal was inked. Dad transferred $10 mill from the firm's pot, $5 from Mom's fund, my fund. Victoria's cut, 20% off books. I watched the wire confirmations on her phone, stomach churning. Betrayal's echo. This was me, handing him the noose. January thawed into ethical quagmires. My internship started, filing clerk hell, but access to LexisNexis Gold. Cross-referencing, the development site, built on contaminated land, permits bought with bribes. Vince's signature on the engineering reports, falsified. I drafted an anonymous report, routed through Uncle Mike to internal affairs. Tip: corruption in Hargrove-backed project. Mob ties. Feds nibbled. Raids whispered. Victoria's text exploded. Pull out now. Bitch daughter's meddling. Me? Bitch daughter. I smiled into my coffee. The tension coiled like a spring. Dad grew haggard. Late nights poring over spreadsheets. Victoria's support turning snappish. She's undermining us, Richard. That apology was fake. He defended me, voice cracking over dinner. Audrey's smart. She's looking out. Cracks in the facade. Good. February's blizzard buried the city, mirroring the storm inside. I confronted Vince alone, tracked him to a garage in Pilsen, snow whipping my coat as I rapped on the office door. We need to talk. Elena Hargrove. He froze, wrench in hand. Who the fuck? I held up my phone, audio rolling. I know about the breaks. The payout. Victoria's orders. His laugh was gravel. Kid, you got balls. But daddy's in too deep. Walk away. Or what? Another trunk. The words hung, my throat closing on memory. He lunged. Fists, not finesse. But I sidestepped, pepper spray from my keychain blooming in his face. He howled, crashing into tool racks. I bolted, heart slamming, dialing 911 from the car. Assault in progress. Suspect linked to homicide cover-up. Cops hauled him. Victoria's panic hit fever pitch, calling Dad at 2 a.m., me eavesdropping from the stairs. It's her, Richard. She's destroying us. He hung up, face ashen. Morning brought the reckoning. Study again, this time with whiskey. Audrey, what's going on? Vince arrested? Feds at the office. I sat across, calm as Lake Michigan in summer. Dad, the deal's rotten. Victoria's rotten. Mom's crash. He slammed the desk. Stop. She's family. Family doesn't murder. I slid the full flash drive across. Emails, transfers, Vince's confession from the holding cell, Uncle Mike's pull. He scanned, color draining. This can't be. It is. And the $50 mill? Sunk. Sights seized tomorrow. The twist hit like lightning. His eyes welled, but not denial, recognition. I suspected. After the crash. But she swore. And the money fixed things. Made me feel like a provider again. Betrayal doubled. He'd known. Suspected. Buried it for comfort. You let her in. Let her near me. I'm sorry, kiddo. God, so sorry. He dropped to his knees, right there on the Persian rug, hands grasping mine. Sobs racked him. Raw. Ugly. The man I'd idolized crumbling. Forgive me? Please. The room spun. Power surged. Vindication, but hollow. I'd orchestrated this. The tips. The nudge into the deal. The evidence trail. Controversial? Hell yes. I'd gambled his ruin for truth. But seeing him kneel, broken, part of me cracked too. Victoria burst in then, wild-eyed, coat half on. Richard, we have to run, the accounts. Too late. Sirens wailed distant, closing in. Cops at the door, feds with warrants. She spat at me. You little. Dad rose, shielding me. Get out, Victoria. It's over. She lunged, nails raking. But he shoved her back, voice steel. Touch my daughter, and you're done. They cuffed her in the foyer, snow melting off her Louboutins. Vince flipped in interrogation, singing like a canary. The hit, the laundering, her Charleston roots a lie. Born Vicky Russo, mob princess slumming it. Trial came fast, spring thaw. I testified, voice steady, mom's puzzle complete. Victoria glared from the stand, but the jury saw the viper. 25 to life, no parole. Dad sold the brownstone, downsized to a condo in Wrigleyville, closer to the therapy sessions we started together. The $50 mill? Vaporized in seizures, but restitution carved out $2 mill for mom's victims fund. My college? Paid in full, plus interest from his savings. Summer found us at mom's grave, daisies instead of lies. I should have listened, he whispered, arm around me. You're her spitting image. Stronger. I leaned in, the weight lifting, not gone, but shared. We both messed up, Dad. But we're here. Forgiveness? Not clean, but in the American way. Messy, redemptive, with a side of hard-won peace. Revenge tasted like ash, but justice? That burned bright. As for me, law school beckoned, DA's office, top of the class. I'd dismantle more empires, one betrayal at a time. And if ghosts whispered, I'd listen. They knew the way. Dad grounded me until I apologized to his new wife. Then a $50 million mistake made him kneel to me. Wait, no, that wasn't the end. Rewind's a bitch, but it doesn't erase the echoes. As spring bloomed into a humid Chicago summer, the real grind began, not the glamorous takedown, but the autopsy of a family flayed open. Dad and I, we weren't poster children for Hallmark reconciliation. We were survivors picking shrapnel from old wounds, one awkward dinner at a time. It started with the boxes. After Victoria's arraignment, televised, her mugshot splashed across WGN like a bad tabloid cover. We hauled Mom's stuff from storage. No more attic exile. Dad rented a U-Haul, sweat beading on his forehead in the July heat, while I sorted yellowed letters and photo albums that smelled like faded perfume. Remember this? He said, holding up a snapshot of us three at Navy Pier. Ferris wheel lights blurring behind Mom's laugh. Yeah, cotton candy and bad Ferris wheel decisions. I forced a smile, but my chest tightened. That was pre-Victoria, pre-crash, innocence in primary colors. He nodded, throat working. I pushed her too hard. Work stuff. She was stressed about that case, some whistleblower at my firm. The firm, Hargrove Logistics, a cog in the rusting machine of Midwest shipping, where Dad had climbed from dispatcher to VP by turning blind eyes. Mom's puzzle wasn't abstract. She'd uncovered kickbacks, mobbed up unions siphoning port fees. Victoria? She'd been the consultant Dad hired to streamline, code for Barry. We unpacked in silence mostly, punctuated by his apologies. I should have seen it, AUD. The way she isolated you. Me. You did see, I said one night, over takeout Thai on his new balcony, city skyline a jagged comfort. You just chose easy. He winced, but owned it. Cowardice. After Elena, I needed someone to fill the quiet. Therapy helped. Group sessions at a North Side clinic, where suits like him confessed to boardroom sins, and kids like me unpacked parental betrayals. Dr. Patel, with her no-bullshit bob and South Asian lilt, called it reparenting the inner child. Cheesy, but it stuck. Dad learned to listen. I learned to voice the rage without the sarcasm shield. School ramped up, senior year, thesis on prosecutorial discretion in white-collar crime. I wove in Mom's case anonymized, citing precedents that could have nailed Victoria pre-trial. Dr. Ramirez graded it A+, then forwarded to a U.S. attorney contact. You've got fire, Hargrove. FBI? They recruit debaters like you. FBI. The word thrilled and terrified. Last timeline, I toyed with journalism, dug my grave that way. This one, law enforcement's structure appealed. Badges over bylines, handcuffs over headlines. But ghosts don't fade quiet. Victoria's trial loomed in September, fall air crisp with lake wind. Pre-trial motions dragged, her high-priced lawyer from Philly spinning grief-induced delusions about my testimony. Dad testified first, voice cracking on the stand, detailing the seduction, the doubts planted, the night he ignored Mom's frantic call hours before the crash. I was at a bar with colleagues. She left a voicemail. Richard, be careful with the new hire. I deleted it. Drunk, stupid. The jury, blue-collar mix from Cook County, leaned in. Victoria took the stand in pearls and pencil skirt, all contrition. I loved Elena like a sister. Audrey's anger. It's misplaced grief. Misplaced my ass. My turn. Under oath, I recounted the trunk. Wait, no. In this timeline, no trunk. But the evidence spoke. Forensics on the brake line. Matching Vince's tools. Wire transfers time-stamped pre-crash. Her texts post-arrest. Finish what we started. Cross-exam. Her lawyer grilled me. Ms. Hargrove, isn't it true you've harbored resentment since your father remarried? A classic Oedipal grudge. Objection, sustained. But the seed stuck. Whispers in the gallery. Daddy's girl gone rogue. Controversial? Testifying felt like stripping naked in church. Every family skeleton clattering out. Dad squeezed my hand post-cross. Proud of you, kid. Verdict, guilty. Manslaughter 1, conspiracy to commit fraud, 15 years, eligible for parole in 10. She sneered as they let her out. You'll rot waiting for ghosts, Audrey. Rot? Nah. I'd build on bones. Fall break. Dad surprised me. A road trip to Door County, Wisconsin. Apple orchards and bluff trails, the kind of wholesome escape that screamed do-over. We hiked Peninsula State Park, leaves crunching under boots, him carrying a backpack with thermoses of spiked cider. Remember when you were 10? Mom dragged us here. You whined the whole way. Traitor. I laughed, the sound foreign but welcome. At the lighthouse overlook, Lake Michigan churning below, we sat on a bench, wind whipping. Dad. The money. Mom's fund. You used it for Victoria's gifts? He nodded, slow. Yeah. Necklaces, trips. Thought it was investing in us. Stupid. Stolen, you mean. Blunt. Therapy's gift. Stolen. Echoed, heavy. I'll repay. Double. From the settlement. The $50 mill fallout. Class action suits from the firm's pensioners netted data slice. Whistleblower credit for flipping Doc's post rate. Not rich, but stable. He quit logistics, started consulting on ethics compliance, irony thick as Midwest humidity. Back in Chicago, my social life thawed too. Friends from the reset. Jenna, poli-sci study buddy with a nose for drama. Marcus, barista crush who quoted Vonnegut over lattes. No more isolation. I hosted game nights in the condo, Dad grilling burgers on the tiny patio, awkward but earnest. But tension simmered. Uncle Mike called midterms. That tip you fed me? Birthed a Rico case. Mobs crumbling. Vince's crew singing about bigger fish. Bigger fish, the developers behind the condos, ties to outfit remnants. My report had snowballed. Good, I said, pulse quickening. Keep me posted? Kids, stay out. This ain't your league. My league? It was now. Thanksgiving redux. No Victoria's gala, just potluck with extended fam aunts fond. Audrey, you're glowing. That trial, brave girl. Uncle Mike pulled Dad aside. Low murmurs about reparations. Mom's insurance? Clawed back partial, funneled to a scholarship in her name. Women in Law, Chicago chapter. Holiday lights twinkled as we decorated the condo tree. Dad untangling strands, me stringing ornaments. 1. Mom's hand-painted star, chipped but cherished. To new beginnings, he toasted with eggnog. Or old endings, I countered, clinking mugs. Half joke, half truth. Winter break brought the offer. FBI trainee program, Quantico track. Application, a beast, essays on motivation, psych evals. Mine, betrayal forged me. I seek to forge shields for others. Accepted. Spring semester blurred. Packing, goodbyes. Jenna teared up at our last coffee. Kick ass, Hargrove. Expose the Vicks of the world. I will. Promise sealed with hugs. Graduation. Cap and gown in Ryan Field. Dad in the stands beaming, alone but whole. Your mother's here, he said post-ceremony, nodding skyward. Whispering go get him. Quantico hit like a freight train, polygraph drills, firearms quals, psych op seminars. I thrived. Debate skills honed for interrogations, running sharpened for pursuits. Classmates, ex-cops, hackers, idealists. Bonds formed over midnight PT, stories swapped in barracks. But nightmares lingered, the trunk's darkness, rain's drum. Therapy via video, Dr. Patel's voice steady. Revenge closed the loop, Audrey. Now live the line. Dad visited for family week. Awkward tours of the academy, him grilling instructors like a proud Papa Bear. Dinner off base, steakhouse, him footing the bill. Proud doesn't cover it. You saved us. We saved each other. Truth, earned. First assignment, Chicago field office, white-collar unit. Full circle, raiding the remnants of Victoria's network, flipping low-level mules. One bust, her offshore accountant, sweating in cuffs. She cursed you, Hargrove. Said you'd pay. I leaned in, badge glinting. Tell me how. Every detail. Case closed by fall, Rico sealed. Headlines screaming, outfit heirs widow busted. Victoria? Petitioned for early release, citing health. Denied. Dad remarried? Nope. Dated a librarian, quiet, bookish, no red flags. I vetted her subtle, background check via office channels. Clean. She's a keeper. I told him over FaceTime, snow dusting his balcony. You sure? Last time I trusted my gut. Trust mine. I'm the expert now. Christmas 2020, pandemic haze, but we zoomed carols, him in a ugly sweater, me in Quantico sweats. To family, he raised a mug. Fixed. Mine clinked virtual. Years folded. Promotions, cases stacking like Jenga, embezzlement rings, Ponzi wolves in sheep suits. Dad retired comfy, volunteering at the scholarship, mentoring girls like me, mom's echo. Me? 30 now, badge polished, scars faded to stories. A quiet dinner with Dad in the city, deep dish at Giordano's, laughs over old photos. Remember the grounding? Over a wine spill. He chuckled, eyes crinkling. Dumbest month of my life. You kneeling? Nah, that was me, begging. Balance, I said, fork spearing sausage. Karma's American dream. Outside, Chicago hummed. Horns, lights, endless hustle. Betrayal's ash? Fertilizer now. I'd risen, not despite the fall, but through it. And if another trunk loomed, I'd kick the lid off first. No, the story doesn't wrap tidy like a Netflix arc. Life's a sequel machine, churning twists when you least expect. By 2022, with Victoria rotting in Dwight Correctional and my FBI vest gathering dust from desk duty, the real controversy brewed. Dad's clean consultant gig unearthed a skeleton I'd buried deep. It started innocuous, a client referral from Uncle Mike, now graying at the edges but still CPD through and through. Ethics audit for a startup, AUD, green energy, solar farms upstate. Your old man's lead. Dad's post-logistics life. Hargrove Compliance Solutions, LLC, a one-man show vetting corporate sins for startups dodging the SEC's glare. Harmless, till the file landed on my desk. Anonymous tip on fraud in the solar deal. Shell companies, inflated grants. Echoes of Victoria's laundering playbook. I drove to his condo that night. Lakeview traffic snarling, gut twisting like bad deep dish. Dad, this client, Evergreen Renewables. You know their books? He poured scotch, top shelf now, fruits of redemption. Sure, clean as a whistle. Tax credits legit, projections solid. Check the subsidiaries. I slid the tip memo across his coffee table, city lights flickering through blinds. One's tied to Russo fronts. Victoria's family. His glass paused midair. Russo? As in, mob. Yeah, the word hung, acrid. He scanned, face paling. I vetted, but maybe not deep enough. Not deep at all. Anger flared, old betrayal's ember. You're repeating history. For a paycheck. Defensive. It's not like that. I'm careful now. Learn my lesson. Lesson? Or habit? Voices rose, echoing off exposed brick. Controversial call 3. Report him? My own father, witting or not, laundering green through red hands. FBI oath screamed conflict, blood screamed loyalty. I stormed out, slamming the door, echo of teenage me. Back at my Wicker Park walk up, sleep evaded. Jenna, now a podcaster on true crime, texted, Spill. You sound wrecked. Family BS. Dad's in over his head again. Cut the cord? Or dive in? Dive. Always. Next day, I pulled strings, office access to IRS databases, cross-referencing Evergreen's EIN. Bingo. Nested LLCs, funds looping to Cypress accounts. Dad's signature on the compliance cert, rubber-stamped. Confrontation 2. His office, a converted garage in Logan Square, smelling of fresh paint and stale coffee. Richard Hargrove, signing off on fraud? After everything. He stood, tie askew. Audrey, it's minor. Overlooks, not intent. I fix it, no harm. Minor? Feds don't do minor. I paced, badge heavy in my pocket. Resign the cert. Walk away. And lose the client? It's my biggest gig. Money. Again. Like the $50 mill. Low blow. He deflated, sinking into his chair. Help me then. You're the expert. Tempting trap. Assist, and I'm complicit. Refuse, and he sinks solo. I nodded, gritted teeth. Anonymous audit. My channels. But if it's dirty, you testify. Deal. Reluctant, but real. We worked nights. Me VPN from home. Him crunching numbers on Excel like it was penance. Patterns emerged. Grant siphoned. Solar panels ghost installed. Head. A ghost from Victoria's past. Her cousin, Frankie Russo, playing eco-warrior. Twist within twist. Frankie wasn't just laundering. He was targeting Dad. Revenge proxy. Victoria's whispers from prison, smuggled via commissary notes. Make Richard pay. The daughter too. Dad found the link. A burner email in his spam, and signed but scented with her venom. She's behind this. Even locked up. Rage boiled. Hers unending, mine refined. We ended. Operation Sting Light. I looped Uncle Mike. Off books, family favor. He posed as a buyer, meeting Frankie at a fake investor lunch in River North. Mic'd up, steak knives glinting. Heard your panels shine. But the funding, Russo clean. Frankie smirked, sauce on his tie. Clean as family. Ask Victoria. Bingo. Arrest followed, swap poetic, Frankie cuffed mid-dessert. Dad cert? Retracted pre-raid, his name cleared. But the cost? Headlines again. Ex-consultant's daughter nabs mob eco-scam. Office buzz, nepotism. Whispers of recusal, psych evals. I fought it, tooth and nail, citing policy. Personal doesn't mean biased. Means motivated. Chief signed off, grudging. One slip, Hargrove, and your traffic detail. No slip. Promotion followed. Lead on organized crime task force. Dad. Shuttered the firm, pivoted to non-profit audits, pro bono for victims groups. No more shortcuts. He vowed over burgers at our spot. You're my compass now. Northwest always. Half smile shared. Victoria heard. Prison grapevine swift. She wrote. Contraband letter smuggled to my desk via bent guard. Clever girl. But blood's thicker than badges. Richard will break you again. Trash. But it lingered, a sliver under skin. Summer 2023. Wedding bells. Not his, mine. Marcus. Barista turned cyber analyst. Vonnegut quotes now in case briefs. Courthouse simple. Lakeview vows under a brutalist arch. Dad walked me. Arm steady. She's watching, you know. From Dwight. Let her. I squeezed. Ghosts don't crash parties. Honeymoon. Quick to Galena, rolling hills, and B&B breakfasts. No trunks, just trails. Marcus's hand in mine, future tangible. Back, baby news. Not mine. Dad's librarian, Sarah, glowing at 45. A sibling. I laughed over ultrasound pics. You're ancient. Watch it, federal. Pride swelled. Family expanding, not fracturing. But 2024 tested. Victoria's appeal. New lawyer, DNA evidence on the brake tampering, planted, but slick. Hearing in federal court, loop shadows long. She testified remote, hollow-cheeked, but eyes sharp. Audrey framed me. Daddy's pet project. Dad testified counter. I was blind. She's the monster. Jury? Hung first round. Holdouts swayed by her reformed act. Retrial loomed, stress etching Dad's face anew. My move, deep dive. Prison logs, visitor manifests, spotting the guard's pattern, payoffs via Venmo ghosts. Indictment swift, corruption charge, Victoria's lifeline snapped. Final verdict, life, no parole. Her scream echoed via feed. You'll all burn. Burn? We'd thought. Now, 2025, current date ticking like a healed scar. Dad's a grandpa in waiting, Sarah's bump rounding. My task force, dismantling digital empires. Marcus at my side coding takedowns. Last night, over FaceTime, snow dusting Chicago again, Dad raised a glass. To the grounding that started it all. To the kneel that fixed it. Laughter warm. Revenge? Not the end. It's the forge. And I'm steel now, American grit, unbent. Epilogues are lies. Life doesn't fade to credits. But if this were a story, it'd end here. Me, 32, staring down a promotion to ASAC, Chicago's organized crime throne. Dad, gray but grinning, coaching Little League for Sarah's kid, my half-sib, a surprise bundle named Elena Rose. Full circle, thorns and all. The final twist? It came quiet, no sirens. Spring 2025, cherry blossoms choking the air with false sweetness. A package arrived at the office, unmarked, postmarked Dwight. Inside, Mom's locket, the one Victoria pawned post-crash for quick cash. Note, scrawled, keep it. You won. V. 1. Pyrrhic, maybe. But I clasped it around my neck, silver warm against skin. Ghosts don't gloat, they gift. Dad saw it at Sunday brunch, Gold Coast Cafe, mimosas bubbling. That's Elena's. Yeah, sentenced with love. Sarcasm light, healing. He touched it, eyes misty. She'd say you're unstoppable. Was. Is. We clinked. Family, forged in fire. Outside, the city pulsed. Horns, hustlers, hidden knives. I'd kneel for no one now. But for them? Always. Fade out.